Forced markings are soon to be required, sanctioned by the federal government. Businesses are beginning to require proof of markings, proof of compliance, in order to enjoy both extracurricular freedoms and the purchasing of life support and supplies. Soon they will force America and the world to use digital currency only. They hold too much control. They hold too much power. It is unwise to openly resist. We must be smart. A day will come where we will have no other choice but to fight. But that day is not yet here. For now, we need to be subtle, formless, shapeless, and anonymous. To achieve those goals of subtlety, you need both tools and knowledge. That is why this video is dedicated to the 5 primary items you need to buy before the world goes cashless. Every item on this list is largely needs-based, so the costs depend on your own purposes. Without further delay, let's get started. Number 1, you need a ghost phone. The majority of internet traffic is conducted through mobile phone usage. Mobile phones have become a crutch that society relies on for the function of both individuals and societies. In this world's growing dependency on the oh-so-convenient Big Brother, a cell phone is needed to function, especially if you're trying to do so under the radar. Depending on your needs, you can purchase a smartphone or opt for a lower-profile flip phone. There are advantages and disadvantages to each, which I will cover extensively in a future video. Those phones with prepaid minutes or monthly plans can cost anywhere from $50 to $200. The second item you need to buy immediately is a ghost computer. Smartphones are both versatile and portable, but there are times when cell phones lack the capabilities that this rapidly changing world requires. Those capabilities are why it is imperative for you to get your hands on a ghost computer. There are particular tasks that will become necessary to complete that are either extremely difficult or impossible to complete on the slim profile of a cell phone. Additionally, computers don't require monthly replenishing of minutes or internet connection. It's far easier to stay off the radar with a computer than it is a smartphone. Especially if you decide to purchase a more archaic flip phone, a computer is non-negotiable. Computers are still dangerous in terms of revealing valuable information if you are not cautious. The type of computer you should be looking for and how to acquire one safely will be discussed in a future video as well. Functional computers can range from $330 upwards. It truly does depend on your personal needs. Thirdly, you need to purchase gold, silver, and if possible, at least 3 acres of land. The world elite want to adopt a cashless economic system so that they can track and control every cent that is traded everywhere. Why is that so dangerous? It's dangerous because if you disagree on any issue, they will have the power to disallow you from supporting yourself and your family by freezing your bank accounts. Their end goal is a cashless society. One of their stepping stones is to completely render the American dollar useless through frivolous trillion-dollar infrastructure plans, the squandering of taxpayer dollars on senseless gender studies in the Middle East, and mass inflation. In the near future, they will cause the American economy to completely collapse. We will discuss the collapse and how to prepare in a later video, but for now it is crucial to get your hands on the essentials. You absolutely need to buy gold, silver, and as much acreage as you can afford. Because of Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030, land ownership by private citizens will be more scarce than the most precious metals on Earth. With Bill Gates and other elites owning 95% of American farmland with the intent to completely own the American water supply and farmlands, land ownership, the ability to use gold and silver to purchase and trade privately, and armed defense will be the only forms of security we will be able to offer ourselves. The dollar still has value, but that value is declining daily, so we need to act quickly or suffer the consequences. Fourth, you need to purchase supplies of necessity such as canned food, water, masks, gloves, cleaning supplies, hazmat suits, because another pandemic is coming. As previously stated, Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030 are well underway. They plan to force us into submission by controlling what should be readily available commodities on the free marketplace. In addition to stocking up on canned foods and MREs, we need to begin or continue purchasing and storing latex gloves, N95 and or KN95 masks, long sleeve clothing to cover as much skin as possible, and should certainly consider purchasing a hazmat suit for both yourself and your family. This is not a joke. My next video will discuss this topic to a greater extent, but the virus was never meant to depopulate the earth like they have been planning. What they are forcing on everyone now, however, is they are planning another pandemic, but this time it'll be worse. Bill Gates said so in an interview not too long ago. The elite control news stations, social media influencers, and celebrities will continue to blame the unmarked. They will then employ their cancel culture loving propaganda news journalists who are also concerned about the truth to turn public perception against the unmarked, so that when they freeze our financial accounts, seize our homes, businesses, churches, private property, then finally the unmarked people themselves, and march them into concentration camps, which Joe Biden already suggested should happen in a throwaway comment in his press release a few weeks ago. The public will praise them for these atrocities because they will have framed the blatant violations of human and civil rights as a necessary evil to preserve the safety of the greater populace. In other words, they will frame the tyranny as a public health issue, all for the always obscure greater good. More on the public health issue ploy later. The bad news is that they are gaining more and more power over our lives with each passing day. The worst news is that this is all our faults, because we have freely handed them control over our lives for convenience sake for hundreds of years, willingly and happily trading our freedoms for personal security and lack of accountability. Because of our affinity of leaving the products of the problems of our society for the government to solve, our current issues stem from a group of people in offices who truly believe themselves gods. But the good news is that now we know their agenda and their endgame, which will allow us to plan accordingly. The final item on this list will aid us both in acquisition and defense of our most precious possessions when the time comes to use them. The final items you need to purchase before the world goes cashless are firearms and ammunition. Lastly, the most important tool an individual can wield when their freedom is threatened is a firearm. Unfortunately, it is now a necessity to have a firearm not only to protect against private citizens, but to protect against the greatest threat to our freedom, Big Brother. Handguns, shotguns, AR-15s, AR-10s, DMRs, SBRs, 9mm, 10mm, 45 ACP, 223, 556, 300 Blackout, 308 Winchester, 6.5 Creedmoor, Full Metal Jacket, Hollow Point, Jacketed Hollow Point, Green Tip, and more. Guns are fundamental to the liberty of a nation of free individuals. With the politicians who believe our purpose in life is to serve them suggesting a national firearms database, now is the time to find ways to arm ourselves while remaining off Uncle Sam's ever-encroaching radar. Each weapon has a specific use. Some are best suited for concealment and mobility, while others are best suited for long-range warfare. Firearms, ballistics, holsters, training, tactics, guns, and magazine first impressions and reviews, handgun 80% lower builds, rifle 80% lower builds are all topics that require extensive coverage. I hesitate to provide you with a price range because firearms are far too intricate and complicated to judge purely on a monetary basis. So for simplicity's sake, you could buy quality firearms for low prices and poorly made firearms for criminally high prices. It all hinges on the reputation, quality control of the manufacturers paired with your individually planned uses for the gun, such as home defense, concealed carry, duty, combat, competition, and many other potential uses. In conclusion, the beauty of a firearm is that what you don't have yet need can be easily acquired should the situation require such force of action. Firearms will be a major focus of this channel, so be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow my other social media accounts for more. Yes, things are insane, and they will get worse. However, this isn't a time to panic, but to prepare. We outnumber them. We are the majority. We can and will endure if we can be brave. Yes, it's scary. Yes, this task is daunting. But friends, we are living in very exciting times. because a revolution is coming. Until next time, Parabellum.